Hi everyone, welcome back to another interview. Today I'm here with Johnathan of RFS. Johnathan, how are you?
Hi, Jordan. How are you? All
Yeah,
good?
not too bad. I'd like to start things off just by asking what your journey was into accountancy, what led you down that path?
Yeah, I suppose it was something probably in my youth I always liked, going through school, always liked accounting. It was one of my favorite subjects. The accountancy journey was in my family as well. So it was kind of a natural progression. I always just like numbers and stuff. So yeah, that was kind of how it was always in my head effectively.
Brilliant. Is this good that you had that kind of drive early on and that's what you wanted to do and you've sort of gone and done it, which is
Yeah.
brilliant. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah. Kind of clear from the start, what I wanted to do. So good from that point of view.
100%. What's the inception story of RFS and a little bit more on the background of RFS?
Yeah, 100%. So I suppose as I said, I've always been keen on accounting. So when I qualified, I actually did my training in retail accounting as well. So I suppose where RFS came from, it was founded for 2014, okay. And really what it was just not to kind of produce the accounts for retail stores. It was effectively as well to kind of help them on the journey to make the changes that would make those accounts better, okay, on the ground. So I suppose there was an awful lot of extra kind of types of services wanted to do, with stores in terms of bringing them along, bringing their team along as well. Okay, so that was really the foundation around RFS, is that a much more personal touch, a much more kind of mentoring service, as well as the nuts and bolts of the accounts. So that was the inception really.
I mean, that's a good approach to take, really. I imagine it's what a lot of businesses in that space are looking for. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
100%. There's so many moving parts in retail. I think, having someone to sit down with you kind of on a monthly or weekly basis or whatever, and I suppose kind of just outline the steps that need to be taken with the team and with the owner is very important, just to keep everyone focused on the in game.
100%. How did you first get involved with retail clients? Was it very much that you got one and then it was just a referral, or yeah?
Yeah, I suppose, based on my training, there was probably, I suppose there was a lot of kind of retailers would have known that I
Yeah,
existed anyway. But yeah, of course, definitely when you set up a new company, I think your reputation is probably on what you do from when you start the company, as opposed to what you've done maybe as an employee or as as a trainee earlier. So yeah, it was a lot of it was referral. So the first couple of years were, they're probably slower than what they were over the last couple of years. You know what I mean? Obviously, you
mm.
had to build your reputation in
Yeah, you
RFS.
grow.
A lot of it's referral. 100% small country. So
Yeah.
everyone knows everybody really. So look, I suppose once the kind of snowball starts, then yeah, it probably gets out there pretty easy that that we're doing an okay job, obviously, and that people are happy. Touch wood, that continues.
When did you first meet Jamie? What does that partnership entail, and how did it all sort of come about?
I suppose, geez, with COVID now, everything's kind of gone into 1 year, hasn't it? It's a bit
It's a
of a
bit of a
blur, but
blur, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I met Jamie initially, I would have said, he'll probably correct me on this, but I'd say it was probably early 2019. So we would have had a few conversations. Look, I suppose, retail, we were used to using the very same systems in retail. So again, a change is great, obviously, now that we've done it. But I suppose you obviously are a bit nervous about it at the start. But look, in fairness, Jamie took us through everything. I think probably my biggest kind of, I suppose, time when I said this is the right way to go is when Jamie actually visited us in Ireland, okay, and went through the system, went through all the processes, and made it look easy. To be fair, definitely put us at ease. Okay, there was a sense of comfort when he left that yeah, okay, this can be done. So
Yeah.
as I say, it's the fear of change is always the big one. So having Jamie coming over and showing how easy it actually was, I think for me and the team, it was the trigger really that made us say yeah, let's just do it.
Mm.
So I think that was around, again, Jamie will probably correct me on this, but that was probably around the start of 2020, even though that doesn't make sense with COVID. But yeah, I think it was the start of 2020 because we actually integrated all our stores over to Twinfield and Basecon during COVID. So
Yeah.
it was in those kind of first 6 months of COVID we integrated, which was probably madness when you look back on it, but it actually went very well.
Mm.
It was I won't say it was seamless because we integrated probably 60 clients over to it 60 plus actually. So of course it was busy, but at the same time, it all goes back to Jamie's team and Jamie himself. I think, that partnership worked well, especially when you really want Jamie is when you're integrating it first, and you're putting it into place. And look, I can't say that they didn't help us on every part of that journey.
Mm. Oh no, that's brilliant. What issue do you usually see in accounting in retail? Are there any specific, like, industry specific issues?
Um, I suppose like it's high processing, high processing level, because a lot of obviously product range is huge if you think you're a local supermarket, so there's a lot of processing. So that's probably the biggest thing you come across, okay, is just, making sure that I suppose the volume of data processing is done on a weekly
Mhm.
basis. So that's probably the biggest thing we'd see in an accounting world as opposed to retail itself.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Um,
a very, very, stereotypical interview question. But what advice would you give to a younger Johnathan if someone was starting out in your similar position? Like, you know, what should they do?
I think, to be fair, I think if I link it back to RFS, I think you probably would look at maybe some of these systems earlier in the time. No, we did, to be fair, I think it was something I always had in my head from 2014 when we started with systems. How can we improve, the systems that are the nuts and bolts of the service we provide? So probably, yeah, look, in hindsight, I probably should have gone on Jamie's route earlier. That's probably one thing I've learned. 100%. And some of the stuff we've actually developed over the last couple of years, kind of in conjunction with this change as well. I wish I'd done it earlier, 100%. So yeah, I think that's the first piece of advice I give myself is maybe take that leap of faith a bit earlier. But then again, the other side of it is, I think the time we did it, everything lined up perfectly for us. So
Mm,
again, touch wood.
yeah.
It was good timing, but again, at the same time, if I could look back and I knew what I know now, I would have just implemented all this earlier on the time. So as opposed to 2020, I would have probably done it in 2014. Um, and after that, I think it's just, again, I suppose kind of link you back to Jamie and the team in 4.0. I think, just make sure when you're going to make a change that you got a good system there. You've done the groundwork in terms of a project plan, which again, we did very well with Jamie and the gang. And do all the hard work first before you implement it. Because then, as I said, 60 stores in 6 months, that's the proof that if you actually do the groundwork, it can be done and it can be done in a seamless fashion.
Mm, brilliant. So, what's on the horizon for RFS? What's next
Ah,
now that the world's opening back up? And well, it feels a little bit late to say that things have opened up, but
no, yeah, great. No, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's open up. So, what's on the horizon? Yeah, look, we're probably seeing we're probably seeing a range of our services grow, which is great. Not just the accounting side of it anymore, but kind of the consultancy side of it and different other kind of sides of the business that we started probably over the last 2 years. We're seeing them grow. So, yeah, I think it's push it on for the next while now. We've developed a very strong team here, so obviously try and retain them, keep them happy, keep making RFS a good place to work, and yeah, just grow and support our clients. I suppose in what's going to be obviously with energy and all those kind of headwinds coming at the moment, it's going to be a challenging 12, 24 months, hopefully minimum, or sorry, maximum, I should say. But look, it's probably support them over the next while where they're going to kind of probably a very challenging time.
hmm. No, that's a lovely stance for someone to take. So, yeah, it sounds like RFS is the place to work.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
No
It's been good
problem.
to learn a little bit more about, the inner workings of RFS, and a little bit more about the business. I imagine the viewers will find that quite interesting if they're in that space.
Yeah,
So, yeah, thank you ever so much for your time.
perfect. Thank you too, Jordan. Pleasure.
Awesome.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
And thank you for
Cheers.
watching. I'll see you later.